Good evening, fellow developers. I hope all of you all aren't half asleep after listening to many of those very innovative and technical sessions that we had. So today's session is going to be, my session actually, is going to be a little bit different, less technical, more interesting, maybe about a job role that you haven't heard much about, which is not very famous in Sri Lanka, but famous around the world. So let me take you through a journey from code to community, making a difference as a developer advocate. So developers have the power of shaping the future. It can be through innovative code, features, platforms, products. You have the power of holding the future of the world in your hands because you're the ones who decide how it's going to make life easier for everyone else. But beyond the lines of code, there's a completely different world out there, and that's community. So developer advocates, they are the ones who have the power to shape this world, which is the community. So they are the unsung heroes of the codeverse, the Gandalfs of Git, the Yodas of YAML. You might not see them taking lightsabers and walking around, but you'll definitely see them carrying their laptops and carrying their coffee mugs, wearing a hoodie, walking and talking about the products and services they love. So let me take you on a journey of what developer advocacy is and how you or everyone out there can be a developer advocate for your product or service. So let me give a small introduction about myself. I'm Kavishka Fernando, and I'm a developer advocate at WSO2 for the product Choreo. So I have been turning complex code into English since 2021, and I have been a tech enthusiast and a lover of coding for the past 6 glorious years. So I have been navigating the digital universe of code one line at a time. So you might be wondering, who is a developer advocate? Actually, imagine a tech geek who's fluent in speaking geek, not Greek, speaking geek, and has a PhD in explaining something very complex in a very simple way to normal people. So developer advocates have the ability to convert anything that is complex into simple English. They can make any tech jargon converted into a bedtime story and make it easy for you to understand. They make APIs and frameworks look like a walk in the park. They are part code enthusiasts, part social butterflies, and 100% passionate about talking about tech and making life easier for everyone. So let's see on a serious note who a developer advocate is. So a developer advocate, also known as a developer relations professional, is someone who is highly technical, and they are very good at communication, and they are the ones who are in charge of bridging the gap between developers and the technology companies. So they play a very important role in building up relationships between developers and the community, and also building relationships between developers and the products, services that they use. So you might be wondering, what does a developer advocate do? Because this is not a very common job role that you see out there in our society. So a developer advocate has a certain number of tasks that they do. It's not only all about knowing about how you can code or technical concepts. It's a blend of different capabilities and talents that you must have. So it's technical stuff combined with public speaking skills, communicating skills, and community building skills as well. So let's dive deep into what a developer advocate actually does. So technical communication is a vital part of developer advocacy. So a developer advocate should be technically proficient and have technical knowledge and be able to understand what their product and service actually does behind the line, right? So the developer advocate should have enough knowledge to first understand what your product actually does, how it is developed, and have that knowledge to make it simplified and make it easier for the rest of the community to understand. Community building is also a key. The developer advocate is the person who is in charge of making sure that there's a community around your product or service. The developer advocate also makes sure that there are enough resources, enough help, and enough guidance out there for the community to try out your product and service and come to you if there are any issues. Advocacy is a key part of it. Advocacy and evangelism both. They should have a passion and love for tech and a passion and love for the product and service that they advocate for to go out there and talk about the product, talk about the technology, talk about a framework that you are advocating for, and help people out there, especially the developers in the community, to understand how to work efficiently with your product or service. Product improvement is also key. Since a developer advocate constantly works with the community, the developer advocate has the opportunity to learn the pain points of the developer community. So I go out there and I talk about my product. I create content about my product. I also have the opportunity to see the pain points of the community. What are the problems that they face? Which user experiences are not really efficient? Which user interfaces the developers actually hate? So I can bring all of this feedback and come back to the product team and tell them, you know, this UI doesn't work. This user experience sucks. So we need to change it. So developer advocates really help in the line of product improvement. Education and training is key, because developer advocates are in charge of creating education materials, technical blogs, video tutorials, doing workshops, doing trainings related to the product. They are the ones who know how to write down an outline for a training or write down a blog so that the people out there, the developer community, in a way that they can understand. Content creation is very, very important. So for content creation, you need to have that skill as well. You should be able to write content in a way that you can explain all this tech jargon in a very simple manner so that the rest of the developer community can understand. Innovation. Developer advocate is not a very easy role, right? You have to always be updated about the latest trends, languages, frameworks. And you know, in this tech community that we live in, every day there is something new, be it a language, be it a framework, be it a product, be it a service, and even new competitors come up for our products every day. So it is very important that developer advocates stay up to date about these latest trends that are happening out there. And they should see how they can incorporate these latest trends into their product or services, or see how they can facilitate these latest trends and provide a service that facilitates these trends. Support and guidance is key. You can't have the rest of the community coming up to you with a certain number of problems and you say, hey, that is not the way you use our product. That's not what a developer advocate should do. The developer advocate should understand what the problem the community is trying to solve and how they are trying to solve it, the steps that they are using. And it's the developer advocate's role to go out to the community and support and guide them on how to use their product efficiently to achieve their use case. Feedback gathering is also very important. Since they closely work with the community, they are the conduit between the community and the developer team. So they can always gather feedback from the community, even through online platforms, online forums, and take this feedback and get it back to the product team. So what skills do you need to become a developer advocate? You need to be technically proficient. You need to have that technical knowledge to understand what your product does so that you can explain it to the rest of the community. You need to have communication skills. You should be able to go out there and talk about your product. You should be able to explain something properly to another developer or the rest of the community. You should have public speaking skills, because developer advocates go out to workshops, to conferences, and talk about their products. So public speaking skills are very important. Community engagement and community building is very important because you need to have a relationship with the rest of the community so that you encourage them and give them the passion to learn about your product or service. educational skills and content creation, it's not only important that you know how to write a blog or know how to create a video. You need to understand what exactly you need to put in that blog or what exactly you need to put in that video so that the rest of the community or the developers understand. Even when it comes to a training program, you need to understand how to structure it, how to outline it in a way that it helps developers. Problem-solving skills is very important because there are different use cases that people are trying to achieve out there in the community, right? It's not exactly what we expected sometimes, but you should be able to understand the problem that they are solving, understand an issue if they face something with your product, help them troubleshoot. So problem-solving skills are very important. Adaptability. Trends, new languages, new frameworks, everything comes out very frequently in our industry, and we should learn to adapt. We can't come here and tell, I don't know this language, so I don't know how to help you. That shouldn't be a case with a developer advocate. They should try to learn new trends and new languages, frameworks, and try to help whoever who's trying out their product or service in whichever way they can. Passion. That is the most important thing. You need to have a passion for tech. If you don't have a love for this job, you won't like doing it. You'll try to hide behind your laptop, just writing a blog once in a while. So you need to have passion to go out there and talk about the latest trends, a love for your products. So passion is very important. Networking. You can't be sitting as a developer advocate in a corner and not trying to communicate with other people, build connections, and talk to other people and learn. Because this is a job that keeps you on your feet. You constantly learn every day. So by networking, it's the most amazing way to gain more experience and to improve your knowledge. Project management and marketing skills. Just as you know enough tech to talk about your product, you need to understand the business values that your company wants to achieve while you talk about this product, right? So, and when it comes to advocacy, it's not only one certain task that you do. There are so many mini tasks that you have to do. So project management skills are equally important because you should be able to manage each and every skill and achieve them successfully. And coding skills. So you need to be able to code, as this is very important for you to understand, especially if you're advocating for a developer-facing product. Most developers are the ones who switched into this advocacy role. So how did I become a developer advocate? So I was actually a developer for 4 years, coding behind my laptop and figuring out bugs and doing writing out new features. So one day, one of my leads came up and told me, we want someone to create tech content for this new product that we are coming out. So I was super excited to do this, but as a usual developer who hides behind the laptop, I was a bit reluctant as well. So, but I thought, I'm always up for a challenge. Why not go and try this out? So my friends used to always laugh at me saying that I'm so good at converting tech jargon into like bedtime stories. And I loved explaining stuff to my friends and colleagues. If there was anything complex that they wouldn't understand, I would like simplify it down into minute details and explain it to them. So I thought, this was a great opportunity, and I jumped on this wagon, right? And it was amazing. I love what I do now. And it's way less stressful than sitting and trying to figure out a bug. I love creating content around my product and different services, writing up blogs, creating tutorials. I love the fact that I'm able to shape a community, to help a community, and give passion for developers to come and learn about different things that we teach as well. So how can a developer advocate actually make a difference? We are the advocates for learning. It's not only knowing about how to code, how to talk, and how to present, right? It's all about the passion to teach. You should have the love for teaching, and you should advocate for learning. You should help the community so that they will have the same passion you do towards the product, service, or whatever you advocate for. Fostering collaboration. So you get to work with different kinds of people, right? You get to work with different kinds of app developers, then mobile web app developers, different types of developers out there, right? So we can create a lot of connections, and you have the ability of building a collaborative audience around your product or service, driving positive change. So there are so many people out there who can have a negative effect about your, or negative opinion about your product or service. But a developer advocate can always step in and say, this is how you use our product or service efficiently. And always change the opinion, the negative opinion that someone else has about your product or service. Helping developers succeed is the best thing that a developer can do, right? When you listen to all the success stories, I love how some developers come and tell me, your tutorial was very helpful. I learned so much from your video. It really helped me understand this technical concept in a very simple way. So listening to these success stories gives you a lot of satisfaction, thinking that someone was able to understand from that little small video that you created. So embracing challenges. This is definitely a challenging role, because as a developer, you would get a feature, and you will be developing that specific feature, and you have to just face the challenges of fixing those bugs that come around that feature or product, right? But as a developer advocate, there are so many challenges that you face. One, there are so many skills that you need to master to become an effective developer advocate. 2, you need to be up to date about the latest trends. 3, you are in charge of the community, and you have the responsibility of building the community. 4, you have to create effective content so that it will help the developer community out there. So if you want to be a developer advocate, how can you do that? So my first thing is cultivate a passion for technology. You have to love technology. And I'm sure all of you guys here, on a Saturday day, you can stay at home. You're all here, right? So I'm sure that first part you have already achieved. Develop your technical skills. Try to code in different languages. Try to learn about new languages, frameworks, trends. So try to develop your technical skills whenever possible. Read a lot, practice a lot, and try to code a lot. Develop your communication skills. This is a part that a lot of people lack, right? So try to maybe first start off with a technical blog. Write what you learned about. Then start off with a tutorial. Then start off with a talk. So little by little, step by step, you can improve your communication skills. Get involved in the developer community. So this is a community today that we are in, right? So engage with everyone. Communicate with each other. Talk to people who are beyond your friend circle right here. Today is the place you can actually start building up this developer community. Build a solid online presence. So all of you know that from these days, online presence is very important. Be it being a social media influencer or be it on the tech side, it's important that you have an online presence. Start a tech blog today. You don't need to have the designation developer advocate in your job role to become a developer advocate. You can start writing about a product or service, a language, anything that you're passionate for, and then start advocacy from that small step. Start with a blog, and then you can move forward from there onwards. Collaborate and network. That's very important, right? Collaborate and network today. There are so many people with different levels of knowledge, different levels of expertise here. Talk to each other. Learn different technologies, learn about different ideas, innovations from each other, and see how it helps you. So collaborate and network whenever you can. So if you have any questions about developer advocacy, don't hesitate to come and talk to me. I'll be in the WSO2 booth. You can always come and talk to me and ask anything about that. So for me, developer advocacy, this role came out suddenly, and it completely changed the trajectory of my life. So I was picturing myself to be a coder about 15 years later in front of my laptop with a bent spine. But I'm out here with a change of role, advocating for things I love for, talking and creating content, and doing everything I can to help the developer community. So you don't have to have that job designation to start as a developer advocate. You can start small. cultivate a passion for technology, cultivate a passion for any sort of thing that you like, be it a technology, framework, a language. Start small. Start with a blog, then move on to a video, then move on to talks, and move there onwards. I'm sure everyone who came here and spoke today started off very small and then moved forward. So I hope at least after having this talk, I hope at least a few of you all are inspired to become developer advocates so that you can go and advocate for what you love for. So thank you very much, and I hope your code always compiles.